we'll kick it on up to the two old guys. I mean, I'm almost upset that this fight is happening personally.
Why?
Well, I mean, I'll put it to you like this: if Cowboy loses, that puts him on what, a 6-fight losing streak to just end his career, because this is probably going to be the last one for him. And he is a legend. You know, he's been around the game for so long.
Yep.
He's been in some great scraps. But to go out on 6 losses in a row is just so tough. And it would be even tougher if it came to Joe Lauzon, because he hasn't been active for like over 2 years either.
Right.
You know, and I think they only called Lauzon because he had one fight left on his contract. So he said Hunter Campbell called him up and was just like, yeah, do you want to get in there one last time and just finish out your contract? And then you have Cowboy, who, you know, openly said he was unwilling to go in there against Conor McGregor when he fought him. Like, he didn't want to be in that octagon. And then, you know, he happened to get food poisoning, you know, when he was supposed to fight on, what was that, 274.
Oh, is that what that was? I remember there was some sort of illness the day of, but I didn't. It was food poisoning or something weird with his.
Yeah, he said he literally ate a bad taco.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just a little suspect to me.
Yeah, it sounds like his weight cut went bad.
Yeah, possibly. Or, yeah, it could be. Or we're seeing this version of Cowboy now at this point that, you know, he might not even want to go in there because there is that, you know, inevitability, like, this is it. And how do I want to go out if he doesn't feel 100%? You know, maybe it was legit food poisoning, but like, it's just, you know, he's been talking so much about how he didn't want to be in there in his last couple of fights. He really can't see himself. He can't like seem to find himself in the octagon. You know, he's getting beat pretty badly by a lot of guys ever since Tony Ferguson, you know, beat him by Dr. Stoppage back in 2019. You know, he just really hasn't been able to find his footing. And some of his losses have been really early and really brutal, like that knockout by Conor McGregor, just eating shoulders up against the cage. You know, just it's been a tough, long road for Cowboy in these last couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, I almost don't even want to watch this because he is a legend, but he's also going to be retiring afterwards, and I don't think it's going to be a very pretty fight. I'm really hoping they just gave Joe Lauzon to Cowboy, you know, to possibly get him out there on a win, give him this ticker tape parade, and, you know, give him his roses and say goodbye. So I'm going to go with Cowboy, but I'm not particularly happy about it. Is a tough one. What do you think about this one, Patrick?
Yeah, I agree with you. I do like seeing this matchup, though, for Donald Cerrone. At least they're not feeding him to the wolves like they do, you know, a lot of the older guys that are going to retire, right? They usually feed them to some young up-and-coming guy. They've done that enough for Donald Cerrone. They're finally like, okay, we're going to give you somebody else that's kind of your equal counterpart, right? And somebody that you probably have a size advantage over and an activity advantage over. He's probably more in shape than Joe Lauzon. He's been for fight camps and actually fighting you know, since Joe Lauzon beat, who was that, Jonathan St. Pierce back in Boston. So, you know, I think this is a winnable fight for either guy, but probably Cerrone more so, even though he is the 1 year older. He's 39 years old, but he's got the measurables, right? 2-inch reach advantage, like a 3-inch height advantage. And the guy who's more comfortable fighting up at 170 and now cutting down to 155. I think he's the more striker at this point. Better form, better pop on his punches. Joe Lauzon's going to start early, like he does most of his career, and especially late in his career. He's going to start early. But if Donald Cerrone's coming, which that everybody does, you can just prepare for early blitz from Joe Lauzon, survive that first round. You know, if you can get the finish early, but I think it'll be a fight that goes over more than not. You know, it's hard to be confident in that, but like you mentioned, you wanted to go out knowing that this is probably both of your guys' last appearance in the octagon in front of fans. They probably, whoever, even if they win or lose, they probably don't want to go out too badly, too embarrassingly. I think they might take this one a little bit slower and, you know, just have a slow grinding fight that Donald Cerrone ends up getting the better striking output on. Joe Lauzon just doesn't have too many good things going for him. Even before he had that win over JSP, he got KO'd by Clay Guida, which doesn't really happen that to too many people, right? Like, you got to be in pretty rough shape for Clay Guida to knock you out,
4 years
right?
ago, Clay Guida too.
Yeah, right. So it's like not even, that's what I said, like even before his last victory for Joe Lauzon, he's had a lot of red flags. He had a corner stoppage against Grootsmacher. Remember that? Like a corner stoppage. They're like, okay, you're eating too many shots here. You probably won't close out your contract with another fight if you just keep on getting your brain turned into stew by Chris Grutzmacher. So this is just a guy who's never really like had too much momentum. Joe Lauzon, nicest guy. He's kind of like Wonder Boy Thompson as far as outside of the cage. Great personality, but I feel like that's kind of clouded my vision. I've got a better vision of him in the past, like having a better career. But I really look at it and look at the pieces, and really was never that impressive to begin with. Is this a better line? Are we getting a better line or a worse line on Cerrone this time than last time? Do you know? Or was it about the same, minus 165? Usually when they reopen, it's a little bit steeper, but I think this seems familiar. Like this is the same price.
It might be a little bit better than the last time too. I think last time was minus 185 for Cowboy, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% positive.
I like going by the stats for the finish props, like the unders and the fight doesn't go to, but the majority of these guys' fights, 36 of 54 for Cerrone, 35 of 43 for Lauzon, have ended inside the distance before the judges' scorecards. But I just have a personal feeling this will go a little bit slower, a little bit more of a senior citizen's conclusion to their career here. And, this might not be the end for Donald Cerrone. I think 39 years old is a great age to start bare knuckle boxing. Let's go for it, Donald. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely.
I can see him in there against Hector Lombard, getting the belt.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Keith. You'll see a lot more action from Donald Cerrone at BKFC for better paychecks.
Or he'll fight Diego Sanchez over at Eagle FC.
Oh, yeah. That's a good – yeah.
Listen, I don't know if I even want to see Donald Cerrone fight anymore, and it's not necessarily because I don't want to see Donald Cerrone fight. It's because I don't want to see Donald Cerrone get hit. And potentially suffer more injuries. I mean, this is a guy who had disemboweled himself outside of the cage. He has 1,000,001 injuries. He almost drowned himself. I mean, this is a guy who loves he's got the bad motherfucker ranch. He loves adrenaline junkie type activities, and which is why I guess it lends himself to fighting. But I just don't want to see him potentially hurt himself more. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think this is definitely the last fight for Donald Cerrone, win or lose, because he was talking before the fight that got canceled about how he was getting emotional, but talking about how he can't wait to see his son Danger, and he wants his son to see him fight, and he wants to make his son proud, and he was getting emotional talking about it. And I think that was such a real moment that it was different for Cowboy Cerrone, because now he's fighting literally for something more than just the fun of fighting. And I think that him and that feeling of like coming out so his son can see him is going to energize him. And I think he's going to go out and he's going to want to do it kind of like how, Michael Chandler, and immediately after he won, he's like, where's my son? Where's my son? Like, I'm getting that kind of same vibes from here. And that's why I think that it was genuine, unlucky food poisoning, and maybe it was a blessing in disguise, divine intervention. Maybe there was some issue with Don where he woke up that day, didn't feel good, and then he got the food poisoning, and now he's going to come back and he's going to get the win, and he's going to ride off into the sunset with Danger, and who knows. But
his son's name is Danger. Danger Cerrone.
What was that?
You said his son's name is Danger Cerrone.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. That kid's got to be a fighter. He's got to get into mixed martial arts right away.
It's so fitting for the kid who's going to grow up on the bad motherfucker ranch in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I mean, it is what it is. But I think Donald Cerrone's been a company man for so long with the UFC that they are not going to have him go out in any way that's going to be either disrespectful or B, not indicative of the career he's had. And I don't think I also, talking about vibes, this is giving me a little bit of Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. vibes, where it's like, guys, at the end of their career, in that case, they were beyond end of their career. The career had ended and they came back. These guys, at the end of their career, I think going to go out there, put on an entertaining fight for the fans, but I don't think we're necessarily going to see a finish here. The lock of the night for me is Donald Cerrone, Joe. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. Anything can happen in MMA. People can get knocked out. I'm not saying these guys are going to go in there and play patty cake, but I think they're going to go and put on a fun fight first and foremost. But did we all go with Donald Cerrone here?
Yeah.
No, Joe Lauzon.
And you guys like the overs in this fight too? Like the over 1.5, over 2.5. I see a lot of people with the last time they fought, they're going to fight on that Oliveira Gaethje card, right? And I saw a lot of people calling like that was like a parlay piece, like going under 2.5 or fight doesn't go. I just didn't agree with that. The numbers support it, but I just didn't agree with it from a narrative standpoint, just a gut feeling standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I see. I don't see Joe Lauzon coming back after 2 years off, and before that 4 years off, like with power to knock out Donald Cerrone. I know Donald Cerrone like can go out, but he's not a totally inept fighter. And Donald Cerrone, same thing. I think he's got good volume and he's got his wits about him, but I don't think he's going to come in there and knock out a guy who doesn't have a ton of accumulated damage recently. So that's a tough one for me.